TV.
I think Wilkinson, just for a change, like, put it that way.
Stephen Hendry, because he's just the best, is outrageous.
I think Gary Wilkinson, Stephen Hendry, because I think he's lovely.
I'd like to see Gary Wilkinson win, actually.
Stephen Hendry, because he's a better player.
Gary Wilkinson to win, because he's a nice young player.
Stephen Hendry.
Gary Wilkinson, I think he deserves a good break.
Stephen Hendry, I think he's just a great player. Hendry, I don't want him to win, I want another one.
Oh, I've got a terrific headache this morning, but just a big relief to get over last night. I was under so much pressure last night, my arms felt like lead and my brain was working overtime, so just a big relief to get it over with. Gary's beaten some tremendous players on the way to the final. He's battled unbelievably. I mean, he's won frames that he shouldn't have won, and that's a sign of a great player. Well, his record speaks for itself. Like, youngest ever world champion, current world champion, world's #1. What more can you say? Tremendous player. Yeah, I would treat him with 100% respect, the same respect I would treat if I played Jimmy in the final. So, you know, I'll go out there and treat it the same way. When you're on tape, it's war. The last 3 times we've played, it went to the last frame each time, so, you know, if I win, I hope it doesn't go all the way again today. You know, it's tough matches. Means everything. Absolutely everything.
Well, that's what the punters think, that's what the players say, but now's the time for action to speak louder than words. Welcome to the Assembly Rooms here in Derby for the final of the Pearl Assurance British Open. This trophy and £75,000 for the 1991 champion. It's the best of 19 frames now and a packed house here for what promises to be a titanic challenge. So let's bring on the players. This young man has reached a major semi-final 4 times before but never got any further. That changed last night when he saw off Jimmy White in a thrilling last frame. Ladies and gentlemen, provisionally ranked 7th in the world, from Kirkby and Ashfield in Nottinghamshire, Gary Wilkinson. His opponent has taken snooker by the scruff of the neck. He fought off yet another challenge by his old enemy Steve Davis last night and appears in his 8th consecutive world ranking final. Will you welcome the world champion, Stephen Hendry. So let's get this final underway then. For the opening frames, Rex Williams and John Pullman.
This is the one that we've all been waiting for, the 19-frame final of the Pearl Assurance British Open between the world #1, Stephen Hendry, and the young man that I'm sure you've all been watching with interest, Gary Wilkinson, his first ever final. There were 2 players lining up for photographs and a handshake. And Gary Wilkinson looking very serious there. And a very serious time for him, of course, his very first final.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First frame, Stephen Hendry, Jupiter.
And Gary Wilkinson's father there in the audience. So it's the world number one, Stephen Hendry, who breaks off in the first frame.
Well, Stephen Hendry forced into having a go at that difficult long red. He's such a tremendous plotter that when he is forced into attempting shots like that, invariably he knocks them in, but not on this occasion. But I think he's been a little bit fortunate. He certainly hasn't left anything easy here for Gary Wilkinson.
It's a long straight red into the corner pocket. Fresh blood to Stephen Hendry. Playing for the red to the right of the pink there. Has he played it hard enough to get on it? Looks as if he has.
Seven.
Hasn't played that hard enough to get on the brown, I don't think. That was his intention.
Seven, Stephen Hendry.
I'm sure Stephen will be a little bit disappointed not getting more from that opportunity. Well, he could play for the double here because he can screw the cue ball off the red would still be safe.
Yeah, pretty cautious start here by both players. Understandably so. Take them a few minutes to loosen up. Well, won't be too pleased with that. Looked a perfectly ordinary safety stroke that he was playing, but the bump of the middle pocket had altered that. Choice of reds here.
Four, Gary Wilkinson.
Well, he couldn't get it much safer than that. And it's a bit awkward for Gary to play a safety stroke from here. Could play a little screw shot, bring the cue ball back to where it is at the moment, I suppose. But attempting to get behind the black, but he could come to grief if he plays that. Leave the red on into the corner pocket.
Yes, you're quite right, John. The previous shot had to be played really well. He knew that he was leaving the red near the black spot playing that shot, but he knew by playing it that Stephen couldn't get back onto a colour. And you can see just that hair on the ball there from the picture, which obviously Stephen hasn't noticed, otherwise he would want it cleaned.
Now, after all that, Stephen plays a delicate little plant. This is a tough one. Oh, what a putter this young man is. Nerves of steel.
Not quite as straight as you would like to be on this, but you just got to nip this one to stay on the pink.
8.
And I think he may be able to just follow through now. Obviously someone has spotted that hair on the ball eventually. It always worries me when that happens when I'm playing, because I always think it's one of mine.
Got one of your two, Rex.
So that takes Hendry 18 points in front, and this is really the first opportunity, the real opportunity of the frame. Choice on this next red of playing for black or pink. Black won't spot, but it would be nicely placed on the blue spot. You decide to play for the pink.
Twenty-six. 27. 33.
So the break now goes to 33 and still in perfect position.
34.
Puts him 37 points in front.
And this has been a difficult break, not a black in it. Having to concentrate on the pink all the time.
Well, that was a cracking shot. With the rest, cue ball going into the other red, screwing back off the red. The second red they made contact with to get onto the pink. So now 58 points in front, just a possible 51 left on the table. So Stephen Hendry certainly taking this first frame. And he certainly looks in good form. This has been a tremendous break, just around the, mainly around the pink ball. And these players have met each other on 3 occasions previously, and Stephen Hendry has won all 3 matches, but the extraordinary thing is that every match has been on the deciding frame. 2 5-4s and a 10-9 in the World Championship. So Gary Wilkinson has certainly made him work for his victories.
The break now 73, just 1 more red left, so there is a possibility of a 100 break in the very first frame of this final.
74.
Find it difficult to pop the yellow from there, though.
80. Touching ball. And the frame, Stephen Hendry.
So Gary Wilkinson concedes and Stephen Hendry leads by 1 frame to 0.
Pretty awesome start by the world champion, eh? But Gary's shown us once or twice in this tournament that he's not one to be intimidated. Welcome back to the 1991 final of the Pearl Assurance British Open. This is a good time to remind you how the players got there. Stephen Hendry's toughest matches were against Tony Mio, 5-4, and Steve Davis in yesterday's semi-final. Davis had been desperately keen to win that one. No question about Gary Wilkinson's right to be here. Both the quarter-final against Tony Jones and the semi against Jimmy White were tests of nerve and character. The head-to-head is 3-0 to Hendry, all final frame victories. So it's back to the match now. Hendry won the second frame as well with a couple of 30 breaks, but in frame 3, Wilkinson's gone 23 ahead and Hendry's wondering what's coming next.
Well, once again, a little bit of a wriggler, but it dropped.
I think what he's looking at there, when potting this colour, was probably with the brown, try and get on the red, I would think, to the left of the pink, and try and follow through to pot the pink in the corner. That's probably what's going through his mind. Well, he's onto the red, so he'll now just trickle through onto the pink. And that may just open things up a little bit, because if he gets onto the pink in the right way, he might be able to just disturb those reds to the left of it.
Six. Twelve. Guy Wilkinson.
That takes Gary 35 points in front. Didn't quite open the reds as he intended to there, and has now given a good chance to Stephen Hendry.
1.
Dropped on the wrong side of the blue, so if he wants to get back towards the reds, he's either got to play a bulk colour or a real forcing shot on the blue. And this is a difficult shot. Stunning round off the 3 cushions. But this young man pots so well.
5. 6. 13. 14. 21.
Well, the way Stephen Hendry is playing at the moment, one can see no reason why he shouldn't polish these up. They're in an absolutely
22.
perfect position to do that. Not a ball on the table that won't pot.
$29. 30.
'And that takes Stephen Hendry in the lead by 2 points. And he certainly is in tremendous form today. Well, we've seen some great young players over the years, but Higgins won the championship at 22 years of age. Davis was a great player when he was 22, 23, but
44.
we haven't seen anyone at 22 play the standard of snooker that this young man plays.
$45.
Well, got a kick there, stopped him from running through, got onto the black as he intended. Oh, Gary sensing perhaps he might have a last-minute reprieve in this frame. And this young man is playing this into the baulk pocket because that will take him nicely onto the red. But it could have done, but it hasn't.
51. Stephen Hendry, 51.
Well, he's controlled it nicely, but he can come off the side and bowl cushions. And if he can get right behind the black, needs to punch it back up the table. Doesn't want the red to make contact though with one of those ball covers. Well, he should have hit it. It was easy enough.
Foul stroke.
That could be
Ball.
serious. Could be a free ball.
And a free ball, Gary Wilkinson.
So this blue will count as a red. And he's now on a colour.
One.
Doesn't appear to have the angle on the blue to get onto the last red, so may be forced to take the green or brown. Oh, it's Gary Wilkinson who is now favourite to win this frame.
6.
Needs a good positional shot to get onto the yellow, and from there on it should be reasonably easy.
Hasn't come far enough. I think the yellow will pot into the top right-hand corner pocket. But this is not an easy shot to control the cue ball. Looks to be, you can't screw it right towards the green, and it looks, could go close to the blue. Well, that's a good shot.
Well,
certainly one must admire Gary Wilkinson because he's taken a real pounding in the first two frames, and here we are now that just green, brown, blue and pink, and he will just be trailing by the one frame, and I'm sure that he'll be very happy with that.
$19.
So, should have wrapped this one up when he had the opportunity.
$24.
It's good to see that even he is human. Doesn't need to worry about getting onto the black. There was an automatic shot to play there. Gary Wilkinson takes the third frame. Stephen Hendry leading now by 2 frames to 1.
Yes, even he's human. Well, the lesson's clear. Mistakes will be punished, whoever makes them. Gary taking his chances and getting his first frame on the board. Welcome back to the assembly rooms. Stephen Hendry's leading 2-1 then. But Gary Wilkinson, who said his arms felt like lead and his head was spinning after last night's victory against Jimmy White, is showing signs of a full recovery. In frame 4, he's ahead again, but Hendry has the table. One.
Well, Stephen Hendry walking away there, he thought the cue ball was going into the baulk pocket. He could take on the green here, but there's not much point because he couldn't get on a red. Attempting there to split a few reds out with the yellow, but it didn't make contact.
The safety shot here that Gary's got to play, the 3 reds together. He doesn't want to push that one over the pocket. And trying to avoid doing that, he's made a thin contact. Hasn't left anything. The red, one of the reds near the side cushion will go, and he'll be screwing back to the baulk end of the table. Very difficult pot, which he made look very easy.
One.
Trying to get on the red that was closest to the black. That was about the only one that he could have managed to get on, but the yellow stopped that. Well, surely not taking this pot on, but I believe he is.
Five.
Has he flipped one?
6.
And didn't even smile. And the reason he missed that green was having to cue over the red that was underneath him. Just put him off balance a bit. A little awkward on the shot. Gary Wilkinson still with a 33-point lead in this frame.
One.
Having both cue ball and black ball cleaned, and he may need to just screw onto the one red to hold position on the other here. Those 3 reds won't go near the pink. The one will go into the centre pocket. Well, he could do it without touching the red. Gentlest of little stun shots.
8.
9.
Hasn't gone far enough to go on the red up on the top cushion, but he can stand just above the yellow and get a red into the middle pocket.
$16. $17.
Oh, studious world champion there. Gary, once again, problems with this shot. He's too straight on the black to have the manoeuvrability with the cue ball that he would like. One needs a bit of angle always on the shot. You can put the cue ball just about where you want. Then, when it's straight, you can only either go straight forward or straight back, obviously.
$24.
Well, he knew that he only needed one more red, so I had to go that long one.
Gary Wilkinson.
57 points in the frame, 59 points on the table. Well, made a bit of a mistake there.
$1.
And a little bit of insurance here for Gary Wilkinson, just trickling up behind the brown, but should have this frame safely in the back now.
And the frame, Gary Wilkinson.
Well, Stephen Hendry has conceded, so at the mid-session interval, 2 frames apiece.
Well, off they go then for a breather and a moment's relaxation, if that's possible. And it's important, of course, in protracted events like this, with long hours to kill between matches, that the players can indulge in a little frivolity. But you'd be surprised at the things they get up to sometimes.
Showbiz time. What are you doing, Jeff?
Are they smoking that?
Nice game.
Crazy about a shot.
What would you rather be doing now?
Oh, that's the best one yet.
Right, that's enough. I had enough of this. Bye.
music by ZZ Top, not Hendry and Hallett. Mark, serious point there is that if you compare Hendry now with Hendry 5 years ago when we first saw him, when he was shy, a good player, but introverted, now he's sort of part of the showbiz thing, whereas Gary is a little bit introverted, isn't he?
Well, that's how, as you say, that's how Hendry was. But of course, Hendry in those days was getting there. And to get there, you've got to commit 100% to the game. So there's no room for diversions. It's practice, practice, practice and disciplines. And now he's there, he's coming out, of course, because he's got a little bit more time and he's meeting people on the circuit that he meets regularly. Now, Gary Wilkinson is going through the same process, but he was only 19 when he started this season. He's going to be top 16 for certain next year, so I'm quite certain that as he gets further on, extra exposure, of course, as well, he'll start to open up, just like Stephen Hendry has.
Once he's got the results and the money behind him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, in the meantime, Gary would no doubt argue that his cue does the talking. It was 2-2 when we left it at the interval, and when they came back, it was Hendry at the table in frame 5, 6 points ahead.
Well, there is one red now that Gary can have a go at. As you can see, the black's tied up there. It's not an easy pot, but he could possibly finish on the pink. If he hits it a little bit harder, would come further down the table.
One.
This needs a good shot. He's got the angle on the blue to go in between the green and brown and back up to the reds. In fact, for those of you who watched Gary against Jimmy White, that was the same pot on the blue that Jimmy missed, which led to Gary eventually winning that semi-final.
Yes, that was a tremendous match, Dennis, last night. Everybody was enthralled by it. And looking at Gary Wilkinson afterwards, I thought that it had taken quite a lot out of him. He looked totally drained. But nevertheless, he looks pretty fresh today. And he's managed to keep the frame scores level.
Yes, Jim, going on from that, it's the first time I've heard anyone in an interview getting into a final of a major tournament saying he was devastated. But I know exactly what he meant. But a great player.
Seven.
Just slightly the wrong side of the blue. So it would take a forcing shot to get around the table. He could just screw back a few inches. But it means it's a little bit more difficult pot now.
Well. 13.
The pink ball will pot to the corner pocket. Not too clear as to what exactly he'll play with the cue ball. That is determined really by the angle of the shot. There we see a better picture of it. He can now take the red, I think, to the right-hand corner pocket. That's the one that he's looking at. Perhaps that might not pot because of the black.
19.
Well, if it does, it'll be a help also that the pink is on the black spot, but he's a bit unfortunate. Having to take, or looking at a red to the left-hand corner pocket.
Twenty.
26.
He's just a little bit in no man's land there, so he's got to pull out another pot. This one into the middle pocket, I would think, and down for the blue. Is it going to curl in with the nap?
27.
Yeah. Usually with the nap of the cloth, it pulls the red slightly in towards the pocket. On that occasion, he was going against the nap. The nap of the cloth runs from the D at the other end of the table where the yellow and green is to the top end. If you rub your hand in that direction, it's nice and smooth. Rub it the other way, it's a little bit coarse.
$32. 33.
And gives you some indication of how the break of 40 is compiled. 6 reds, 1 black, 2 pinks, and the blue. And 3 blues, I beg your pardon.
$47. $48.
This is a great performance from Gary Wilkinson. Already 42 points in front. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't get enough points here to
54.
Clinch this 5th frame.
55.
This break already is Gary's highest break so far, but he didn't have many chances the first couple of games. It's going to be tough today, he's saying to himself.
$61. 62. 68.
That's a great shot. And that should put the frame safe. The pot on the pink. Everything else is a bonus.
I think he got a bad contact on the pink there, but I'll be surprised if Stephen Hendry comes back to the table. That break of 69 is enough to take the frame for Gary Wilkinson. He goes into the lead for the first time, 3 frames to 2.
Yes, he does, Dennis. Gary ahead for the first time. No final nerves for him. And what's more, he took the next frame as well to make it 4 in a row. So it's a whole new ball game, as they say. Stephen Hendry was stunned after losing 4 frames in a row, and who wouldn't be? In frame 7, he's had a 47-point lead wiped out by a 53 from Wilkinson, and Gary's back at the table, 1 red left.
Now then, this is the chance for Gary Wilkinson, and the green's not as bad as it was before. It's moved slightly. One.
Cue ball has gone not too close to the side cushion, but that was what Gary intended, in order that he had a slight angle at which to go towards the yellow ball. 7 points ahead, the blue makes it 12. This will be the key shot, I think, to the frame. Pop the yellow and get onto the green.
6.
Stephen's hoping, of course, that Gary's going to miss at some point.
8.
So the green and brown for Gary Wilkinson to leave Stephen Hendry needing a snooker, and for to win 5 frames in succession.
$11.
Well, the crowd certainly enjoyed that. And Gary's starting to look good. He's not too bothered about the black. The pink goes in, that's enough. He's won 5 frames in a row. And the crowd here certainly enjoyed it for the local boy, now leading 5 frames to 2.
The question is, what can Hendry do to stop this? Wilkinson was marching on again in frame 8 with a 67 break, and as we join that frame, Hendry's looking anxious, but still a lot of work for Wilkinson to do.
Just doing a quick calculation, he could tick take a red and a brown, but he then would need a black with the last red to win by 1 point. Going to wait for another possible opportunity, but if Gary can pass the blue, he could have a go at the red. Well, just enough room, I think. This would do the trick if it goes in. He's going to be in a spot of trouble after the next shot. Just got to judge the angle of the red. He can leave the white where the red is. I don't think it's worth taking the risk of potting this one, but knowing Stephen Hendry, he might just be tempted. He might be better waiting for a better opportunity than this. Just depends how he feels. Oh, that's a great pot. Oh, and he's knocked the pink off the cushion as well. What a bonus that was. And he's got a nice path to pot the blue and just past the green and come right back up onto the top cushion for the last red. Is he going to hit the pink full ball?
6.
I think he might play the snooker here, or is he going to... Yeah, this is a delicate little shot. It's more difficult than it looks there.
7.
Oh, would this restore his confidence if he could pinch this frame?
Yes, that I feel deserves a little bit of applause. Tremendous power and right-hand side on the cue ball to develop the angle that he had on the yellow ball. And how badly he needed this frame to stay in the match. 5-3 is much more healthier than 6-2.
19.
I'm just thinking of that red that Stephen took on, the second last red. That was an unbelievable pot. He pulled one off like that against Steve Davis at a crucial point. And look where the pink is. That's the one he knocked off the cushion when he potted that red.
So Gary probably thinking that he had that frame in the bag.
34.
Well, Stephen Hendry will be feeling elated, I'm sure, to have taken it. And he has stopped the rot. He pulls one back and now trails by 5 frames to 3.
Well, what an audacious pinch that was by Stephen Hendry, but my goodness, he deserved it after taking on that red, didn't he? So let's move on to the last frame of the afternoon session then. Wilkinson's potted the only red, and he's back at the table.
1.
Oh, what a predicament here. The black's the easiest one to hit straight across the table, but he's got to be careful not to hit the other red there. And he's got to be careful not to touch the one he's striking over as well. That's a great shot, that. And that's not a bad one either.
Sigh of relief then from Gary Wilkinson, but perfect contact on the black, exactly the way that he would have liked to play it.
I think he's going to be forced to have a go at this pot. And that's not going to help his confidence. There was no easy path back down the table for a safety shot, so decided to have a go and screw back into baulk. And he miscued. I hope he hasn't done any damage to the tip. Sometimes you can take a little piece out of it, but everything looks intact. Chalk McHugh there, famous Scottish snooker champion.
He's going to have to be careful not to collide into the blue on his return back to baulk. And he's negotiated that pretty well. It looks as though all the reds are blocked to the right-hand corner pocket. And Gary would be very brave to take on a red to the left-hand corner, so one would assume. Well, he has, in fact, got a red there. It will go to the right-hand corner, but fraught with danger.
I'm just thinking, Jim, there's only 2 reds gone, and there's not one colour on its spot. That's incredible. I don't think I've ever known that before, so early in the game. Just make your mind up time.
Well, he's played a safety shot, hoping perhaps that the cue ball would have been dead on the top cushion. Stephen's having a look at this red. Very difficult to sneak back that one, I'm sure, but has a possible choice of 2 reds to the left-hand middle pocket. He's taking the one furthest away.
One.
Now then, the yellow, of course, would be the easy starter, but I just wonder whether or not it will actually go back on its own spot. The green is very close to the yellow spot. If it doesn't spot, it would automatically go onto the black spot. Well, that's that problem solved. But as you pointed out earlier on, Dennis, none of the colours on the spot, so it's not too easy to score from this situation, even though the reds are well split.
Four.
Well, if Stephen can pop the black and play a little cannon onto the second of the 2 reds there, the one to the left, he won't have to worry about any of the other colours. He can concentrate on the black. But can he hold for the black with the angle he's got now?
11.
Don't think he can. Does he go for the difficult pink? He's fully stretched there. I think the yellow will go, but the green won't go.
Yes, and it makes all the difference in the world between playing it with or without the rest. And he's having to stretch for the pink, so decided on the more... Well, they're both difficult. But of course, he's got to get the screw back on the cue ball as well. Hasn't really got into that. So he's now still faced with
14.
a difficult pot, whichever red he chooses. The head goes down. Very disappointed with
14. Stephen Hendry.
Stephen playing far below par. Gary Wilkinson, meanwhile, is having a tremendous run. And as pointed out before, when Stephen has missed previously, he's usually left a red hanging over the corner pocket. Had a terrific season, Stephen Hendry, but when it comes to the final, he seems to be struggling in the opening session. It was the same in the Benson and Hedges, and
8.
prior to that, the World Match Play at Brentwood. Managed to win the last final to beat Mike Hallett from what was an impossible situation, but of course he didn't want to be in the same position again.
16. $17. 21. 22. Yellow ball.
Now, Gary will be giving this 100% concentration now. He would certainly enjoy his interval if he was leading by 3 frames. First player to 10. If it was 5-4, you would have to make Stephen Hendry favourite for this evening.
Runs slightly out of position, but has the red down the side.
33.
That's the state of affairs, up to date. 21 points ahead, Gary Wilkinson. Next couple of shots are going to prove to be important, of course. He can win the frame from this visit. All 4 reds out in the open. Just got to try and make it easy for himself by getting close with the cue ball to make the pots very easy.
40. 41. 48. 49.
And Gary Wilkinson certainly played some super snooker from the mid-session interval. He's had a 40-odd break, 50-odd break, 2 60-odd breaks, and here he goes again.
57.
He's already past the point where Stephen Hendry needs a snooker. So this is a great performance from young Gary Wilkinson in his first major final.
64.
7 blacks, a brown and a yellow.
$65.
Yes, and one would have to say, Dennis, that at the start of the day, this young man was under tremendous pressure. He's playing the world's #1 and the world champion, and really has stood up to that pressure and given a tremendous performance. That's a little bit unfortunate,
71.
but nevertheless, that should be enough.
I don't think he'll bother about about that. Stephen Hendry will get up and shake Gary's hand, and it's a job well done from Gary Wilkinson in this first session. He goes into the interval, now leading 6 frames to 3.
Well, Gary will be thrilled to bits with that, of course. There was a feeling, Mark, that he might have drained himself after that semi-final victory over Jimmy White last night, but apparently not.
Oh, he must have been drained. I bet he went without too much sleep last night, but he's a gutsy little player, isn't he? He reminds me of a Jack Russell Terrier. He snaps around at your ankles, and if he's got half a chance, he doesn't let go. Those 2 frames. Tony Jones,
yes.
4 snookers to tie, and Jimmy White, 2 snookers with 2 reds on, no, 1 red on the table.
Never say die, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It could have been a lot worse as well for Stephen Hendry. We must just have a look at that red he took on again to avoid going 6-2 down. Here it is, Mark.
He could have gone 7-2 down. Stephen Hendry taking this red on, it was quite a difficult red. He's got to really get on that black, and he sees a chance to get onto 2 blacks here. Now, he cannons onto the pink, which in the end helped him to win the game, but he didn't play that cannon. It did help him to win the game.
Yeah,
the next shot, the blue, to get back onto that last red, was a beautiful shot, just as good as the red that he potted.
OK. Well, we've seen 2 nail-biting semi-finals already in this tournament, and the final shows every sign of being just as tense and just as thrilling. Can Hendry pull it back? Join us for the final conflict at 10:30 tonight on ITV. Bye-bye for now.
So the pot made into the middle pocket from a very acute angle enables Gary to get the black on its spot, and there's some potential here. The balls are nicely spread.
Nine. $16. 17.
'm just looking at some of the breaks that this young gentleman has knocked in this match. He's had a 69, a 43,
24.
53, 67, 71. That's great snooker by any standards, especially when you're playing against the world #1. In fact, Stephen Hendry has had breaks of 80, 51 and 41, and he's only got 3 frames on the score.
$32.
He hasn't quite gone far enough, and it's not going to be possible to stay on the black here.
$33.
Well, he put a terrific amount aside on that one there to bring the cue ball back for the black, so he's feeling very confident.
$33, Gary Wilkinson.
And he missed the easiest one of them all, the black off the spot.
$1.
That was a clever little shot to free the pink there, because as you can see, the black's gone up the other end of the table. But the way the balls are placed, he could get back to around about level with Gary Wilkinson, and then it would become very difficult with those 4 on the side cushion there.
7. 8. 14. 15. 21. 22. 28. 29.
'So Stephen Hendry now into a 5-point lead. Now he's got to get to work onto getting position on one of these last 3 reds. Can screw up from the yellow. A little bit unlucky.
38.
The pink will not go past the middle, past the pink into the middle.
Stephen Hendry.
Yes, that's been the story of the match today. Stephen not quite getting the running. And Gary Wilkinson here has been playing extremely well. And as usually the case, the player that's playing well tends to get the better running. No, that's a little bit careless from Gary. He should have knocked that in. That was a good opportunity for him. So the nerve's starting to jangle again. We mustn't forget it's Gary's first major final, so that's going to put quite a bit of pressure on him, and quite rightly so. This is a big day in this young man's life.
6. 7.
So 15 points in front. So if he can knock in this last red
13.
and get onto the pink and knock that in, Gary Wilkinson will need snookers.
14. 20. 22. 25. 29. 34.
And Stephen Hendry will be able to breathe a little sigh of relief. A very important first frame of this evening session.
40.
And he's going to take the black as well. He doesn't really need to bother with the black. But in it goes, and it's Stephen Hendry with that 40 break who takes the first frame of the evening session, closes the gap to 6 frames to 4.
Well, Gary's confidence taking a bit of a knock there. How will he respond to that? Hello again. Stephen Hendry has begun the evening session in more convincing style. Having to come from behind seems to be his destiny these days. So it's into frame 11. Hendry to play 1-all.
One. 7. 8. 13. 14.
'Well, he'll be aiming to get up amongst the reds around the pink spot and get the pink working.
16. 16.
Well, you would have expected Stephen Hendry to have made more from that opportunity. And the red right over the pocket, so there's no trouble for Gary Wilkinson just to send that red onto it.
One.
but he's slightly the wrong side of the blue. He wanted a few more inches there so as he could come back up to the reds. There you can see the angle he has. That'll be taking the white towards the bulk colours rather than towards the pink. So he's going to have to leave a long pot for himself here. Just weighing up where the white would be.
Six. Seven.
Well, he missed a pink on his last visit with the rest. Can he knock the blue in with the rest?
$13.
Could be struggling now because he's straight on this black, so not easy to work the cue ball. He did quite well to get it out into that position, but still needs a good red to keep this little effort going. If the red will go into the middle pocket past the other two reds, that would be the easier pot. This is a much more difficult shot.
Wilkinson, 20.
And what a beautiful shot. Nicely onto the black, and two reds just below the pink, ready for the taking. Stephen Hendry now holding a 4-point lead.
Nine. 15. $16. 23.
And what an important shot, this next one for Stephen Hendry. And he's left himself the perfect angle on the pink. He can play to move the two reds on the side cushion. If he doesn't do that, he'd be on the other red.
$30. $31.
He's going to need the two reds here because he can't get up for a high color off this one.
34.
It's a little bit awkward, so if he takes the green on, he's going to have to play with a lot of side to get over to the red. He's looking at the scoreboard, but he's taking the yellow. That'll drop him nicely in behind that final red.
$34. Stephen Hendry.
So Stephen Hendry got slightly out of position and it cost him the yellow pot. Gary Wilkinson still in this frame. 30 points behind, and a good opportunity really, because he can take the red on and he should be able to knock this in. The yellow makes it rather a large pocket and he can come up for the brown or the green. Oh, that's unbelievable. So it wasn't such a big pocket. And that will almost certainly cost Gary Wilkinson this 11th frame. Hendry just needing the red.
One.
Yes, Mark, Gary would have been better playing to pot the red and forgetting about the yellow. He thought he couldn't miss that last shot.
Five.
I know we keep saying that they're all important frames, but this certainly was an important one as far as Gary Wilkinson was concerned. He had a chance to go 3 frames ahead. There's going to be 1 frame the difference.
Stephen Hendry.
That should be enough to close the gap to 6 frames to 5.
Yes, indeed, Dennis, that was more than enough for the world champion. The lead now compressed to 1 frame, 2 on the trot for the world champion, who must have given himself a good talking to tonight. On to frame 12 then, and Wilkinson is 15 behind.
Foul stroke, 4, and a miss. Gary Wilkinson.
Yes, he was quite a long way off. He didn't intend to put the white there. It was just, I think it's the way this frame is gone. I'm sure he'll get much closer this time. I might leave this. You can have a go at this red, and the white will be heading towards the black there. He's not bothered about moving the black because the pink's available. The most important aspect here is to knock the red in.
And he may just have the angle to cut this pink in and come across the table to get onto this lone red.
Seven.
So he's on that nicely.
Eight.
And just a little bit unlucky. He tried to develop the two reds, but has knocked one red across the table close to the side cushion. 3 points behind. Oh, what a shot that was.
14.
This packed audience just loved that. So he's got himself in the lead.
Yes, I think in behind the pink now he was a little bit unfortunate.
Gary Wilkinson.
Let's play to land on it here.
Foul stroke, 4. Gary Wilkinson.
And Gary, I don't think we'll take the double on. Be easy to get down behind the blue for a snooker there. I'm not quite sure if it's a natural angle to double the red, but it would be very risky because the colors are, well, it is. It could be possibly doubled, but Gary is a great percentage player. He was going to have a go at the double there. And with the colors placed the way they are, if the double goes in, he would certainly win the frame, I would think. But at the back of his mind, he knows it's easy to put Stephen Hendry in trouble. I think it's the double.
So, is the attempted double by Gary Wilkinson going to cost him this frame? It looks on the cards.
Six.
As Dennis said, he was a great percentage player, but he He must have fancied the double, which would have been frame-winning ball.
8.
Stephen Hendry just needing the brown, the blue, and the pink.
15. $20.
So the fight that continues. Stephen Hendry takes frame number 12, and it's level, 6 frames all.
I wonder if Gary will regret that risky double. The frame lasted more than half an hour, so it's a real hard slog, isn't it? Well, Wilkinson's 45 ahead in the next, but he just made a bad miss, and Hendry's in again.
And Gary's lost all 3 frames this evening and looked like he was going to win this one, but there's still a chance now for Stephen Hendry to continue this terrific run of his. The reds are all safe, but we've seen this young man clear up from all sorts of positions.
8.
And I don't want to put the kiss of death on this one, but he's one of the best players that I've ever seen playing shots down the cushions. Now has he got the angle to just drop behind the red on the right-hand side cushion?
Well, he's a bit unlucky. It's going to have to be a safety shot, I feel.
$16.
29 points the difference, so Gary Wilkinson still favourite in this frame, and doesn't he need it badly? Oh, that's a cracker.
Fall stroke. 7. Gary Wilkinson.
And Gary could snooker him again. It'd be too risky, I think, to take that red on. He's got a 36-point lead, and with the position of the balls, he doesn't want to be taking any risks. So if he can just leave the white on the top cushion or just get it to go through a couple of inches, he could leave a snooker behind the black. He won't be too bothered whether he gets the snooker or not, as long as he leaves the white tight on the cushion.
Gary Wilkinson is 36 points in front with 3 reds left. So he needs a red and a black, and Stephen Hendry would require a snooker. That's another good shot. Now if Stephen Hendry leaves a red on here, that could be end of frame. And if he doesn't hit it hard enough for the referee's requirements, he may be given a miss. But no miss given. Just about acceptable.
Oh, and this is the shot that counts. Gary's going to steady himself for this one. This is his 3rd time getting down to the shot. Oh, that's a cracker again. And he'll be feeling absolutely terrific inside. He stopped the rot. He's lost 3 frames on the trot.
9.
But he'll certainly enjoy his interval now that he's going back into the lead. Well, he can't be too disappointed.
16.
He was 3 frames behind. He's going to be 1 behind, so a good performance to win the session 3-1. And Gary Wilkinson got a lot of support here in this crowd at the Assembly Rooms in Derby. He only lives some 25 miles from here.
22. 24.
It's nothing against
27.
Stephen Hendry, but you do tend to get the crowd cheering for the underdog. He's done it all before. It's Gary's first chance to win a major tournament.
31. 36.
And isn't it so easy now?
$42.
He'll not be bothered whether the black goes in or not. It would be nice to finish with a clearance, but it doesn't really matter. They go off to the mid-session interval. Gary Wilkinson back in the lead, leading 7 frames to 6.
Can't be easy getting out of a downward spiral, but Gary managing to push the world champion behind him again. Neither of them really in full flow yet tonight. Welcome back to this throbbing arena. Stephen Hendry's done a good job holding on to his teammate, but having lost 3 frames, Gary Wilkinson's nudged in front again. Here's the next, Wilkinson to play, 13 behind.
Well, it does happen occasionally. Cue ball was tied to the top cushion.
Yes, you could really see the miscue there from the picture.
One.
Hasn't come far enough. Played for the blue, but wanted to come a little further up the table. He's spotting the black now. Not so easy to control the cue ball.
Eight.
I don't think he can quite get through to the red, which is to the left of the black, but he can just drop the one into the middle pocket.
Nine.
So that makes the scores all level in this frame. Of course, Wilkinson leading by about 1 frame, 7 frames to 6.
Choice of green or yellow, decided on the yellow ball. Possibly playing for one of the 2 reds just to the side of the pink, and should he go beyond that point, which he has, he may have to take the more difficult one to the left-hand corner pocket, the one to the left of the black. He's a bit disgusted with that shot that he's played. In fact, he's not too happy about taking on the red. But he may choose to play it eventually. Got to be careful that the cue ball doesn't collide into perhaps one of the 2 reds to the right of the black.
Yes, I think that's the problem, Jim. To avoid those reds, he's got to use a lot of side, and of course trying to do that with this half butt makes that shot so much more difficult. Well, he's managed to do it, and I think he's got a perfect angle on the brown to screw back up the table onto one of the reds by the pink.
$16.
Ideally, he'd like to be straight on this red. Doesn't want the cue ball to go too close to that side cushion.
$17.
And also doesn't want to finish too straight on the black. Well, he's played himself into trouble yet again. Full ball kiss on that red and he would have left quite an easy pot to the corner pocket. This is much more difficult. Taking the spider. And what will make the shot even more difficult is the fact that he'll be stretching. And it's difficult to sight the ball. It's too far away. So it looks as though he's going to choose a safety shot and settle for the 15-point lead that he's already got.
Gary Wilkinson.
Well, that was the most difficult of shots that Stephen Hendry took on there, and a little bit reckless, I would think, at this stage. You can't keep knocking those in. No point in shaking your head. There's no player in the world can keep getting those.
One.
I think both these reds will go into the middle pocket, and he can get himself nicely onto the black. That puts him 21 points in front, so a great chance here for young Wilkinson to go back into a two-frame lead. And well, there's some pressure out there for these two boys, particularly for Gary Wilkinson,
13.
because this is his first major final. Stephen Hendry, of course, is very experienced.
Yes, and even at the tender age of 22, Rex, it's quite amazing just what this young fella has achieved. I'm talking about Stephen Hendry, of course, but you can only sit and ponder and wonder what exactly has gone wrong with the form. Where's it gone to? Meanwhile, Gary Wilkinson, tremendous display of snooker last evening, and today especially. I thought that perhaps he would have folded, and that last night's match would have taken too much out of him, but he's proved everybody wrong. What a gutsy little player he is.
22.
And sensibly, they're not taking any chances to try and disturb the red. He's making sure the frame, 44 points in front now, just 35 on the table. So he can afford to have a go at the double here.
29, Gary Wilkinson.
But Stephen Hendry concedes, and it's Gary Wilkinson who now leads by 8 frames to 6.
So a bit of breathing space for the man playing his first ever major final. A two-frame cushion is exactly what the sports psychologist ordered. So what's next? Frame 15, Hendry to play. Here's the score.
So another wonderful chance here for Stephen Hendry.
One.
Almost came to grief there. He can still pot it, but may be going away from the reds. Almost missed it.
8. 9.
He'll be taking on the black and screwing onto the red just to the left of it, hoping that he gets the cannon just right. Looks a little bit straight on it.
16. Foul stroke. Stephen Hendry, 16,
Yes, well,
4.
He
Gary
was too
Wilkinson.
straight. Gary Wilkinson will probably take on one of these 3 reds, and it looks as though he's giving it full conviction and playing for the black at the same time. Well, he's not where he expected to be. Perhaps the ball that could have got him out of trouble was the pink, but he's unable to see that also because of the red.
1, Gary Wilkinson.
Awkward striking. I think Gary will take this on, but it's a very difficult cut back into the middle pocket. Well, he's played it in such a way that I think he's hidden the red to the right-hand corner pocket, so Stephen can't have a go at either of those 2 reds. But he can play a good safety shot. And maybe even a fluke.
1.
Well, I think it would be fair to say that he deserves a little bit of luck.
Seven.
That puts Stephen Hendry 20 points in front. A great chance here of winning this frame now, and what has been a rather scrappy frame, but they all count the same on the scoreboard. If you make 147 break, it only wins 1 frame.
13. 14. 20. 21.
Well, that was the red that he required. Now 34 points in front and just a possible 27 left on the table.
28. $33.
Yes, I think the crowd enjoyed that yellow. It was a cracking shot.
$37. $42. $48.
So, after going through a rough patch for a couple of frames, Stephen Hendry wins the frame and now trails 8 frames to 7.
Nice time to get a fluke, but how well he played to turn it into a frame-winning clearance. This match now as much about nerve as anything else. Frame 16 then, Wilkinson yet to score, Hendry 17 ahead.
Because he had to leave a red into middle pocket had he have missed it.
$8. $9. $16. $17.
Oh, that looks pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. Has a choice of reds to the left or right-hand corner pocket.
Well, you wouldn't want to have the shakes trying to clean the cue ball in that position.
$25.
Yes, especially with ball crusher Len Ganley.
Yes, great character, Len Ganley.
32.
And with his refereeing, he's been all over the world. Well, that takes Stephen Hendry 50 in front.
$37.
Compared with the
38.
consistency we expect from Stephen Hendry, he's blown a bit hot and cold in this match, but he still looks lethal when he really gets going.
$45.
Yes, you pointed out quite rightly so as well, Rex, in last night's match.
46.
Stephen Hendry is probably at his best when he's really under pressure. And he's got his back to the wall and his tail up. He's at his most dangerous.
53.
So the match
54.
certainly now going all square again, past the point where Gary can reasonably expect to have any chance of winning. Of course, Stephen Hendry still in control of the balls.
$61. 62. 69. 70. 77. 78.
85. May come. He could have come back for the blue. I think he's got. Yes, I thought he may come back for the blue there. Easier now to get onto the yellow than trying to get onto the yellow from the black.
$91. 93. 96.
So just the brown to make the century, and this is already the highest break of the match. The highest break of the tournament, held by Gary Wilkinson, with a break of 139.
105.
So a great performance when he had been struggling for a while, but it's Stephen Hendry with a magnificent break of 118 when this black goes in that levels the match at 8 frames each.
And that was Stephen's third century break of the tournament. Gary, of course, is the highest break, 139. The duel continues shortly. But this, isn't it? Level again, and only 3 frames available now. Stephen's on a high after his century break, but Gary is as gritty as they come. He's at the table, 35 in arrears in the next.
Oh, and what a great shot. Just a little gap to get through there.
$8. 9.
And the last time that Stephen Hendry was in front in this final was the second frame. So
16.
it looks as if he could be going into a 1-frame lead. Gary had been standing at the back while Stephen was playing a couple of shots, now safely back in his seat.
17.
Yes, in actual fact, Dennis, it was the third frame the last time he was in front, because he led 2-1, of course. But since they were 2-all, he's never been in front in this match. But what a time to go in front now. If he can win this frame and lead 9-8, needing just one more frame for victory, that's the perfect time to go in front.
Stephen Hendry.
52 points the difference. There's still a possible 59 on the table. So the plot thickens.
One. Six. Seven.
You could do with getting the cue ball right on the bottom cushion of this black.
.38 points adrift now. There's still 42 possible points on the table by potting. So he's got a little bit of leeway. Doesn't have to take two blacks.
Yes, John, what he's thinking about is getting on the green or brown to move the final red. He could have done that, but he would have had to have come up for the black then off that last red.
Well, must of course pop this blue to keep himself in with a chance. And leave himself a longish red then. It didn't go.
15, Wilkinson.
And 37 points the difference now and only 35 on the table.
Well, all the colours at the baulk end are perfectly placed for snookers. Gary Wilkinson at the moment needing one snooker. He's won a match earlier in the tournament needing 4 snookers, so never say die. Now if he can pot the black and place the cue ball up near the yellow, it would be quite easy to get a snooker.
Well, he can screw behind the pink here and send the yellow up the table. Might develop into a very reasonable snooker. Would you believe it? I think he's been unlucky and has left the yellow on.
Guy Wilkinson.
Well, that was very unfortunate.
Two. Five.
Well, that's the final nail in the coffin, I would think.
And the frame.
Stephen Hendry takes the frame and leads now by 9 frames to 8, needing one more frame for victory.
And you know, that's the first time Hendry's been in front for 14 frames. Seems a long time ago, doesn't it? Will he go all the way, or can Hendry finish it off now? Here's the 18th. He's at the table. There's the score.
Well, this would do his confidence the world of good.
Six.
Could have done with the cue ball running another couple of inches there.
Seven.
Got the right angle this time.
Twelve. 13.
Well, he feels he got a bad contact there. He's going to have the cue ball cleaned. Doesn't make a lot of difference this time. He still has a nice easy black. But it's making him have to work that little bit harder with the positional side. If he hadn't got the kick, he'd have been perfect on the black.
Well, looks as if you can just get through to the red in the corner pocket. There you see it.
That was interesting there. He put the chalk on the side of the table, took it out of his pocket. He was just leaning on the chalk as it was in his waistcoat pocket and could obviously feel that and was putting him off.
Now this is a nasty little shot coming up. Very easily missed. It's safely negotiated. A perfect angle to go into the four rods there. Absolutely marvellous. We'll be quite happy with that.
36.
Gone into the lead by 8 points now.
37.
Well, John, we've been saying it all through the tournament. What a battler Gary Wilkinson is. And isn't he proving it here? Under the utmost pressure. He knew, had he made one mistake, it would have been all over. And here he is, still fighting away to win the British Open. He's got a little bit more to do yet.
.22 points in front now.
50.
So Gary needs both these reds to make Stephen require snookers.
And this is the fourth time they've played each other, these two players, and it's gone to the last frame on the three previous occasions. This is the gentleman that's won those three battles, who's going to win the fourth.
$57.
29 points in front now. This is the red he wants. Put him 30 in front, whether he got a colour or not. There would still only be 27 points on the table. That's it. It looks as if for the fourth occasion with these two, it's all going to be on the last frame of the match.
$64. $69. $73.
$118 break by Stephen Hendry in the previous frame. And this is Gary's highest break in the match. What a time to make it.
84.
So what a fantastic night snooker we're having here as Gary Wilkinson wins the frame, levels the match at 9 frames all. It's handshakes and come out
Thank
fighting.
you, gentlemen. 19th and final frame. Stephen Hendry to break.
Now the final frame of the 1991 Pearl Assurance British Open. What a battle this has been. Stephen Hendry breaks off. And the young man who's really provided some thrills here over the last couple of days. Tremendous semi-final against Jimmy White. And here he is just one frame away from winning the British Open. nerve ends are jangling a bit out there, I would suspect. Very difficult to play this game when the muscles tighten up.
Yes, John, and the nerve ends are jangling in the commentary box as well. Oh, that was close. And with those three reds going up the other end of the table, this could turn out to be quite an unusual and quite an exciting final frame. Just have a look at the reds now.
Well, I think Gary's got a red on into the middle pocket, but it's a very tough one to take on. The left-hand middle pocket there seems to have a straight red. There you can see it, but it's rather an awkward angle, particularly at this stage of the match.
Little smile from Gary. He was using the yellow to stop the red from coming back up the table. In fact, I bet he wishes it hadn't have gone in. Now he can roll in behind the black, but that's a nervy little shot to play at this stage. Yeah, he's overhit it, you see. Normally he would have just nestled in behind that, and I think Stephen can now do that.
Well, this is difficult. I think Gary's only hope is to hit the top side of that first red, the red that he's looking at there, and bring the cue ball back towards the top cushion. That's his only hope. If he doesn't do that, well, that's reasonable. But there is a red on into either middle pocket. This is by no means a certainty. That's a good shot.
Six.
So what a chance here. The red's beautifully split.
7.
They'll have to concentrate on the blue for the time being, one would think, although the black is on, but no red's terribly close to that. Well, perhaps now can bring the black into play.
13.
Well, Stephen Hendry has done it all before. He's now won umpteen titles. And is that going to carry him over the line? That experience that he's amassed, this young man, just 4 years a professional.
21.
And all he can do is sit and hope that Stephen Hendry can break down somewhere along the way.
$28. $29. $34. $34, Stephen Hendry.
Well, that's the miss that Gary was hoping for, but nothing terribly easy. And there's some of the crowd that are enraptured by the snooker that they've seen tonight. A full house here at the Assembly Rooms Derby.
Yes, John, a lot of Stephen Hendry supporters there, but I'm sure there's even a few Stephen Hendry supporters would like to see this man win his first major tournament. 4 years, as I mentioned, he's been a professional. This is the biggest day of his life.
Yes, and another thing that we mentioned this afternoon, Dennis, it also happens to be his father's birthday, so what a wonderful birthday present it would be for his father if he could win this. Having just settled there for the safety stroke. And Stephen Hendry, 33 points in front.
Oh, and that's a cheeky one he's took on. And I think Gary can get through to it. He was hoping it would have been covered. He can pot it okay, but just imagine how he's feeling inside. He normally would have knocked that in, but oh, so much pressure on him. He's a little smile, but he's puffing and blowing away there. think he can pot the green and get past the pink and up for the red there into the right middle. Well, that was the problem, the cannon onto the pink. So maybe Gary Wilkinson will get another chance. But you know what this man's like at the long pots.
Eight, Stephen Hendry.
And that's what they're playing for there, along with the nice little sum of £75,000.
If Stephen Hendry played the pot there, as I'm sure he did, he was certainly a long way out. But once again, did no damage. Once again, Stephen having a go at the long red, this time with success. With the knowledge, of course, there that he couldn't leave any other red other than the one he was playing. The others were quite safe.
Eight. Stephen Hendry, 8. Thank you, gentlemen.
49 points the difference. There's a red into the middle pocket. Gary'll have to take it on. He'll have to take it on. And if it doesn't go in, he's just settling himself down. What a big shot this is. And it looks as if he's coming back for the black. That's what he was thinking about. You can see him digging into the cue ball. It's there.
Well, can you believe that? An absolutely magnificent red into the middle and then missed a comparatively simple black. He can't believe it. How on earth did I come to miss that, he says.
But back to Stephen Hendry, the world champion. You can't take it away from this man. He is so good under pressure. It's untrue.
Yeah.
56 points in front now. There's only a possible 51. the blacks over the pocket. This looks like the end.
$15. $16.
But just going back to this man here, he was provisional 7th before this tournament in the world. He's now provisional number 5.
$23. $30. $31.
Well, the match long ago all over, of course. Just a little bit of mopping up to be done. Gary, of course, will concede. And once again, it's that man, Stephen Hendry, who comes out the winner. He is the 1991 Pearl Assurance British Open champion.
Please, to welcome the presentation party consisting of Mr. Godfrey Bowles, the Managing Director of Pearl Assurance, accompanied by the Chairman of the WPBSA, Mr. John Spencer. Thank you, gentlemen. And now we come to the presentation. First, to the runner-up, a cheque for £44,000, and of course he had that top break prize of £5,000, and our congratulations for a magnificent tournament goes to Gary Wilkinson. To the winner, ladies and gentlemen, a cheque for £75,000, the trophy and the title of the 1991 Pearl Assurance British Open champion goes to Stephen Hendry. And as if by magic, here's the trophy, and Stephen Hendry and Gary Wilkinson in the studio. Congratulations, Stephen.
Thanks.
That's your 5th major trophy this season?
5th ranking tournament, yeah.
But it took a bit of winning, didn't it?
That's right, yeah. It was an incredible match.
Were you ever in doubt that you could catch up with Gary? I mean, when you came back this evening at 6-3 down?
Well, no, I wasn't in doubt. You know, I needed a good start tonight, definitely, which I managed to win the first 3. You know, I knew that the winning post was going to be the hardest part for Gary to win it. You know, so I definitely needed a quick start tonight.
No consolation to you, Gary, that it was a wonderful final, I guess, is it? You wanted to win that, of course. Where did you feel you lost it?
Same as Stephen says, it was the start of tonight's session. I didn't stamp any authority on the match at all, and you can't afford to do it against the world champion.
Why was that? Because we saw you practising in here before the evening session. You looked full of confidence.
Yeah, it's strange when you walk out there.
Pressure?
Well, maybe, yeah. I think pressure, a little bit of inexperience, all rolled into one.
Nice tribute from Stephen at the end, saying you were going to be playing a lot more finals. But, Stephen, is your form World Championship form, would you say, on today's evidence?
Well, I played well, you know. It's not that I won the tournament playing badly. I have been playing well. I played a few careless shots tonight, and I think the only reason that I got away with it was due to a little bit of inexperience on Gary's part, you know. But I think, you know, in next season or a couple of seasons, he'll destroy me for them type of mistakes.
Well, no one's ever had a run like this. 8 consecutive world ranking titles and 6 major trophies in one season. Even you must admit, Jim, he's the best ever, isn't he, surely?
He's got to be. He's proven it at this minute in time. A terrific final, tremendous performance by Stephen Hendry yet again, and a great performance as well by Gary. He looks so disappointed. I hope he doesn't punish himself too much, because he's proved to himself and to the nation, I think, that he's going to be a great player, yeah.
Great play, yes. That's it. We've had a wonderful day, a few days of snooker. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. From us all in Derby, a very good night to you.